breaking news, first alert weather, live local coverage. This is News 10 Today at 11.
Right now, we're taking a live look over the World War II Memorial in Washington, D.C. 80 years ago today, the course of history changed forever. The largest group of military forces ever assembled pushed across the western coast of France. Thank you for joining us on this live stream for News 10 Today at 11. I'm Taylor Gattoni. 80 years ago today, the course of history changed forever. And today, they're being honored at a ceremony at the American Cemetery in Normandy, France, the site of some of the most intense fighting. NBC's Jay Gray reports from Normandy.
They line up in formation, though most can't march or stand at attention anymore. Still, they move through this battlefield turned graveyard memorial, a visit that brings with it memories of their first trip here 80 years ago.
I'm reliving walking in on D-Day.
Staff Sergeant Jake Larson landed on Omaha Beach with the first wave of Allied soldiers, his unit peppered with machine gun fire as they scrambled to combat positions. Larson somehow making it across the sand without taking a hit.
How do you explain something like that? And these, my buddies are buried here. I'm 101 years old. It won't be long and I'll be joining them.
One of the reasons, for many, it's so important to be here. A chance to say one final goodbye and to honor those who never left.
We lost so many men. It's unbelievable. And the young people should know about this. And they really don't. So I had to say something.
So they share their stories, take pictures. Though most will tell you they don't care much for all of the attention. And even though they are, many refuse the label of hero.
I'm a hero at all. Those guys that sacrificed their life are the heroes. I'm the result of their being heroes.
Truth is, they're all heroes, remembered for their service, courage, and sacrifice. Jay Gray, NBC News, Normandy.
3,000 American soldiers, sailors, and pilots died in the first 24 hours of the D-Day invasion. Their sacrifice, and that of so many others over the next several months, is seen now as the start to the end of World War II. We're going to check in with First Alert meteorologist now, Colton Sikoracki, because Colton, it was hot and humid to start off the week, but now we're getting a little bit cooler.
Yeah, that's right. Today is much cooler and the humidity is not as high, so you'll really notice it kind of feels a lot drier outside. And I do want to show you satellite radar because we saw some rain earlier this morning. That is pushed off to the east, and now we're seeing a lot of sunshine across mid-Michigan. And you can see that with a live look from our Meridian Company Skycam network. Nothing but blue sky across mid-Michigan. I expect it to stay that way for the most part outside of a few clouds this afternoon. Temperatures right now are in the upper 60s and lower 70s, and our humidity is in that pleasant category. In fact, it just fell to the comfy category, so our dew points are down into the 50s, so we do not have near as much humidity today as what we have been experiencing as of late. So I think it's a nice day for lunch or dinner outside, as temperatures this afternoon will be warming up into the lower to middle 70s. Outside of maybe a stray shower, we should stay dry, but we will have a full check of your first look forecast coming up in just a few more minutes.
Thank you, Colton. Today, 2 communities are cleaning up and one is mourning the loss of a child, as the National Weather Service has confirmed 2 tornadoes touched down in Michigan on Wednesday. One hit just north of Roscommon in northern Michigan, and the other hit near Livonia. That's where a 2-year-old boy died and his mother was hospitalized in critical condition after a tree crashed through the roof of their home. The storm uprooted multiple trees in the area, including the massive 4-trunk tree that uprooted and fell through the bedroom onto a bed. That's where the mother and her baby were lying, pinning them underneath. Authorities say crews worked tirelessly for over an hour, removing parts of the tree and lifting the tree with high-pressured airbags to extricate the victims. The 2-year-old boy succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced deceased at the scene. There was a 2-week-old in a crib in a separate room, along with the grandmother, who was not injured but transported to a hospital for evaluation. And new this morning, Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has sent a letter to President Joe Biden asking for a major disaster declaration and activation of the federal individual assistance programs for Southwest Michigan. Branch, Cass, Kalamazoo, and St. Joseph counties were included in the declaration, following damage sustained from 4 tornadoes and severe storms on May 7th. The letter comes after an assessment of the area was completed. Whitmer says the funds are needed to deliver critical financial assistance to support families, businesses, and communities as they recover and rebuild. The storms on May 7th resulted in roughly 16 injuries and caused significant damages to homes, businesses, and the power grid. Today, public safety officials are coming together to provide an update on the mass fentanyl poisoning that occurred in the Kalamazoo area last year. The incident killed 7 people and hospitalized 10 others from a batch of fentanyl-laced cocaine. The update will be at noon today, providing details into an ongoing investigation of the increased fentanyl usage in Michigan. Also happening today, it's the grand opening for a new automotive development and testing site in East Lansing. The German-based company Testeo is opening its first American headquarters in East Lansing. The company has been around for over 35 years and provides testing services for transmission systems in vehicles. The new location is located on West Road and 35,000 square feet. That's how big it's going to be. It will add 46 new jobs as well as plans for investments of $27 million. Phase 1 of their new facility has been completed and they're now focused on Phase 2. The president of Testeo North America spoke about what led the company to choose East Lansing as their first North American headquarters.
One of the main reasons was the proximity to Michigan State University. We have a long tradition and history of locating our testing sites next to technical universities. This allows us to utilize student engineers to work as part-time test bench operators.
Schultz says he's very excited to be in the East Lansing area and to work with the local customers. Happening today, Okemos Public Schools is holding a groundbreaking ceremony to kick off the new Chippewa Middle School construction. The new school will feature amenities such as a new auditorium, outdoor learning spaces, and natural pathways around the campus. The middle school is set to be finished for the 2026 school year, and the funding for the new school comes from 2022 bond projects. Today's groundbreaking will take place at 5:30 p.m. in Meridian Township. If you use Consumers Energy, make sure to listen up. Consumers Energy wants to raise rates. The utility company has proposed a $325 million rate hike with the state's Public Services Commission. If approved, customers would pay about $10 more per month. It says the money is needed for infrastructure and service upgrades. The Public Services Commission has 10 months to get public input and decide whether to approve, reject, or modify the request. In March, it approved a $92 million rate increase for Consumers Energy electric customers. We have a consumer alert this morning. The Eagan County Sheriff's Office wants to remind residents they would never notify residents of an outstanding warrant or asking for money over the phone. The Sheriff's Office said a scam caller claimed to be Sergeant Reeves, but in this case, no individual with that name works with the organization. Scammers will do everything they can to make sure you believe you're talking to a real law enforcement officer and use tactics to make you feel rushed into acting now. If this happens to you, hang up the phone immediately and contact the agency they claim to be calling from and verify what you've been told. June is Pride Month, the worldwide celebration that began as Gay Pride Week in 1970, marking the first anniversary of the violent police raid at a New York City gay bar. From that historic confrontation, a greater amount of communication has evolved between police and the LGBTQ community, including in the city of Lansing. And tonight in our ongoing You're Not Alone mental health series, News 10's David Andrews reports on the sensitivity training that gave the Lansing Police Department a better understanding about the mental health struggles and concerns of the mid-Michigan LGBTQ community.
How we address people by name, by gender, by how they identify, things that the community would be able to provide us as resources to make our job easier and make us more effective to help them.
You'll also hear from a Lansing police officer who plays a special role in bridging awareness between the Lansing Police Department and the local gay community. Our special report, You're Not Alone report, is tonight on News 10 at 6. We have an update this morning. It's just a matter of days before the full reopening of the Fort McHenry Channel to the Port of Baltimore. The final large steel truss that has been blocking the passageway has now been removed. This expands the width of the channel to allow all ships in and out of the Port of Baltimore. The expected date for the reopening of the full channel is June 10th. In March, a cargo ship named the Dolly struck the Francis Scott Key Bridge, forcing it to collapse into the Patapsco River. The crash killed 6 construction workers who were on the bridge at the time of the collapse. On Wednesday, the Senate failed to pass a bill that would have guaranteed access to contraception nationwide. The Right to Contraception Act would guarantee a federal right for individuals to buy and use contraceptives, including birth control pills and condoms. It's a back and forth between Democrats and Republicans. Republicans blocked the bill, claiming it's unnecessary and overly broad. Democrats say if the GOP won't help them pass federal contraception rights, they want voters to know about it. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer also voted against it, using the procedural move to allow the chamber to bring it up again at another time. Republicans say Democrats are launching a fear-mongering campaign and protecting something that is already legal for political purposes.
What they are saying out there is that, oh, those Republicans, they're going to try and take away your access to contraception. Well, that can't be farther from the truth, folks.
In the 2 years since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, mifepristone has moved to the forefront of the battle over reproductive rights. The High Court is set to rule on access to that abortion pill any day now. Senator Debbie Stabenow released a statement Wednesday on the vote, saying she voted for the bill because, quote, birth control is a key part of women's health care. It's a personal decision that is between women and their doctors, not right-wing lawmakers and judges, period, end quote.
Today on Investigate TV Plus, we're taking the topic of suicide out of the shadows.
Yeah, we break down the critical resources available and meet a woman who is turning her pain into purpose.
You can catch Investigate TV Plus right here on weekdays on TV 10 at 1 p.m. Happening today, Jackson's Blue Fest is making a return. The annual festival is a 3-day event with live blues music, and the kickoff starts tonight at 6 p.m. Tickets for the event are $10, and kids 12 and under get in for free. Tonight, you can expect the music to continue through 11 p.m.
And the time now is 11:12 here on this Thursday morning. As we are getting a check of your first alert forecast, I do want to kind of take you back to yesterday because it was a pretty active weather day across the state of Michigan. We did see some showers and storms here, thankfully not severe, but the same cannot be said for other parts of the state. In fact, there were 2 tornadoes in the state of Michigan. One was pretty far to the north up in Crawford County, just north of Roscommon. That's where an EF0 tornado was confirmed by the National Weather Service in Gaylord. And then the second one was in Livonia. That's over in Metro Detroit. That was rated an EF1 with peak winds of 95 miles per hour. So not terribly strong, but obviously you don't need a very strong tornado to cause damage. And we did unfortunately see that, especially with that Livonia tornado yesterday. But what we did see here locally was quite a bit of heavy rainfall. So this is a look at the radar estimated rainfall that we saw yesterday. And a lot of areas picked up between 1 to 3 inches of rain, especially in parts of Eaton and Ingham counties, especially near Mason. That's where some of the heaviest rain happened yesterday. So there was quite a bit of rain that came down with some of those storms. And the best news that I have for you is that we're not going to see any more of that, and we are going to be drying out today. In fact, we have a lot of sunshine taking over, and the system from yesterday is now pushing off to the east. But now what we need to turn our attention to is an area of low pressure that's centered way up to the north, in fact, north of Lake Superior. This is going to kind of settle in for the next couple of days here, so it will bring us multiple chances of seeing some rain, as well as keep our temperatures a little bit on the cool side. So we'll be keeping an eye on that over the next couple of days. I don't expect any major rainfall from it, but I do expect at least a few showers here or there. But this is a live look from our Jackson Skycam, which is part of the Meridian Company Skycam network. A lot of blue sky, always nice to see that. And the current temperature is 70 degrees. Now, I do want to point out the wind that is coming in from the west at 10 miles per hour. Today is going to end up being a pretty windy day. In fact, by the afternoon, we'll likely have wind gusts close to 30 miles per hour. So that would be one thing about today, is that it's going to be windy, but the humidity is gone, and it's going to feel pretty comfortable throughout the rest of our Thursday. So looking at the hour-by-hour forecast, what I want to show you here as we head into the afternoon, notice how we start to see some clouds build in by around dinner time, and maybe a sprinkle or two with this, but I don't think that today's rain chance is all that high. And then as we get into tonight, same thing. So even as we head into our Friday, A stray shower will be possible throughout the day, but most of us end up staying dry. Temperatures, though, on Friday likely a bit cooler. Highs only in the 60s tomorrow, which is close to 10 degrees below normal for this time of year, but we will warm up slightly as we head into the weekend. In fact, I have 70 for Saturday and 71 for Sunday, and there could be a few showers around on Saturday as well. So for today's forecast, we have a high of 75 degrees. We'll keep that sunshine going with just a few afternoon clouds. I can't rule out a stray shower, but I think for the most part we stay dry. Then tonight we drop down to a low of 54. A nice night to open up the windows, give those ACs a bit of a break. And looking at your 7-day forecast, we keep temperatures in the 70s Saturday, Sunday. It won't be until the middle part of next week that we start to warm on up. It looks like we'll have highs getting back up into the middle to upper 70s by Tuesday and Wednesday. And if I were to show you the 10-day forecast here, it would show that by the end of next week, we warm right back up into the 80s. So it does look like this cool down will be around for several days, but then potentially, Taylor, some of the warmest temperatures that we have seen all year could be coming by the end of next week and into next weekend. So, of course, we'll be keeping an eye on that in the days to come.
I was going to say, when you were going through the 7-day forecast, I was like, I think this is the first time I haven't seen 80 degrees in it.
It's a little bit cooler.
Wait for the 10-day. All right, thank you, Colton. Thank you for joining us this morning on News 10 Today at 11. Have a great rest of your day.